Well, this month, U.S. Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton led Americans in remembering the 50th anniversary of John F. Kennedy's assassination. Kennedy's widow, Jackie, is credited with securing his place in history. A new film entitled Letters to Jackie talks about the events leading up to the passage of the Civil Rights Act and why many African Americans revere JFK. Here's a report by VOA's Carolyn Turner.
Time stood still the day President Kennedy was assassinated. The film captures the collective grief and profound sorrow the nation suffered through the 800,000 letters from ordinary citizens sent to the First Lady.
Dear Mrs. Kennedy, may I share a few thoughts with you about the tragedy? Nothing has touched me so deeply in a long time.
Dear Mrs. Kennedy, I know you have received quite a few letters in the past week. I pray you take just a moment of your time to read one more.
My dear Mrs. Kennedy.
Dear Mrs. Kennedy.
Dear Mrs. Kennedy and the Kennedy family.
Dear Mrs. Kennedy.
You and your family have our sorrow of the death of your husband.
My dear Mrs. Kennedy, Lincoln died that all men might be free. 100 years later, JFK died that all men might be equal.
The film captures the historical events of the Kennedy presidency and the civil rights movement. Director Bill Couturi explains.
But I would say JFK was the first president that African American people felt like, this is our guy, and he's going to help us, which he wound up doing, but again, the irony is he wound up doing it from the grave.
100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free.
This is a civil wrongs bill, not a civil rights bill.
It may be that you will be blocked, but the cause for which you fight can never be thwarted, because it is truth.
The First Lady is credited with preserving the Kennedy legacy, which is still being played out today.
I want to take this opportunity to express my appreciation for the hundreds of thousands of messages, nearly 800,000 in all, which my children and I have received over the past few weeks. May I thank you again for the comfort that your letters have brought to us all.
Mr. President, the Republican National Committee recently adopted a resolution saying you were pretty much of a failure.
I'm sure it was passed unanimously.
President Obama is today in Berlin, where, of course, Kennedy gave the famous speech, talking about reducing our nuclear arms and trying to have a bilateral situation with Russia where we all reduce our nuclear. Kennedy gave the American University speech right here in this town about reducing nuclear arms. So it's still things that he started 50 years ago, we are still now playing out. So he was, I think, a pivoting point for America.
Letters to Jackie is an emotional journey into the nation's history captured at the dawn of the TV age. Carolyn Turner, VOA News.